In the last video, I showed you how to load data using AJAX from a TXT file. In the course materials for this video, you will find this AJAX JSON. So let's open this into the editor. And JSON is going to be really important since almost all the REST APIs are going to be using JSON. So we're gonna see how you can read the values and print the results from a JSON in JavaScript. Something really simple. Here we have a button for the employee, button 2 for employees, and then we have an ID for employee and another div with ID employees in plural. If you open this employee.json, this file is empty. Here we are going to create the JSON. So if you have no experience working with JSON, you will learn how to create a JSON file. We also have employees.json. This one is also empty. I'm gonna show you how to work with JSON with multiple objects in the next video. First, we're gonna work with this employee. I'm gonna open the app.js, and if you take a look here in the HTML, we're gonna execute employee when the button 1 is submitted or clicked. So we're gonna add the following code: document.getElementById. We're gonna pass button 1. And we're going to add an event listener click. We're going to call this function load employee like this. So we're going to create this function load employee. So this is going to be really similar to the last example, but we're going to open this employee.json. If you haven't used JSON before, .json is going to be the extension when you create a JSON file. But normally JSON is going to be used more in a REST API. In this chapter, we're going to see how you can read the values from a JSON REST API. But first, we're going to start simple. We're going to start working with this employee.json. So this JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And it's going to be really similar to a JavaScript object. Normally, a JSON will be created using the curly braces. Then you're going to use a key and a value. So for example, let's say that we are working in an employee. We're going to add something like an ID. And you can see that this ID is grabbed inside double quotes. It has to be inside double quotes. If you use single quotes or the backtick, it's going to cause you an error. Then you're going to pass the value. So we're going to add one right here. Normally, you can add strings or numbers into your JSON. Then we're going to create another one. We're going to call this name. I'm going to add my name. Then we're going to add company. So we're going to add, it's going to be double quotes, my company. And you can see that between each one of these, we have a comma here, comma here. And the only that doesn't need a comma is going to be the last one. In this case, I'm going to add another one. So we're going to add another comma. And we're going to call this job, and we're going to call web developer like this. So this is going to be our first JSON. You can see this last one doesn't have this comma. Also, you can see that we're using double quotes in all of these keys, but this one, which is a number. So this is going to be a really basic JSON. We're going to close this, and from here, we're going to write this function. Remember, we need to perform 4 different steps. So first we create the object. It's going to be const xhr equals to new XML HTTP request. Then you open the connection. So it's going to be xhr connection dot open. In this case is going to be also get. We're gonna open the employee.json file, and this is going to be asynchronous. Then you execute the function. So we're going to use xhr onload equals to a function, and we're going to add if this dot status equals 200. We're going to execute the code. If you remember, this is going to return a response text, so we can add something like a document and a dot get element by ID, and we need to open this employee ID. So we're gonna select this and pass this employee. We're gonna add inner HTML. It's going to be equals to this that response text. This is going to be the response that we're getting when you are trying to open this employee.json. Finally, the last step is going to be send a request. And it's going to be HR send like this. So this is going to work. Let's open the project. You can see we have employee. Click here, and you can see that we have something like this. It's printing the JSON, but it's printing this as a normal string. If you open the console here, try to open the console. Click here on console and try to send this response text into the console. Console.log. That response text. So save this and open again the project. Click here and you can see that this is printing a string. So we can use the function that we saw earlier, JSON.parse. JSON.parse is going to convert this string into a JSON, and it's going to print also actually it's going to print this as an object. So click here and you can see we have an object. This JSON.parse function is going to check for this syntax, and then it will find that once converted is going to be an object. So we can do something like that here. I'm gonna remove this and I'm gonna use JSON.parse like this. Save this and click here on employee. You can see we have object, and this is because now this is an object and we need to access each of the properties using a dot. So we're gonna cut this and we're gonna create a variable called employee, and then we're gonna create another one. Here we're going to add build the template, and this one right here get the response as an object. That's why we're using JSON.parse. So we're going to have const output is going to be equals to the backtip template literals, and we're gonna use UL, close the UL, the unordered list. Then we're gonna create an li, close the li, and we're going to add ID right here. Then we open the $, curly braces, and the name of the object is employee. And if you open this employee, you can see that the key is called index ID. So we're gonna add employee.id so we can access that property. We need to access the rest of the properties. So the next one is going to be the name of the employee, name, employee, that name, and close the li. The other one, or the third one, is going to be company. So we're going to add company, employee, that company, close the li. Finally, it's going to be the job that this person is doing in this company. So it's going to be employee, that job, close the li. So this is going to build the template. So right here, I'm going to add print the HTML, and it's going to be equals to this output variable. So something like this is going to print a formatted data right here into this page. So let's click on employee, and now you can see we have ID, the number one, we have name, we have the company, and we have a job. So now you can see that this looks more formatted, and this is how you read JSON data with JavaScript. You have to access each of the properties, or at least the properties that you want to print. So in the next video, we're gonna see how you can print multiple records, multiple objects in a JSON file.